Let's discuss language development in preschool-aged children. Here are some strategies for parents. All children need opportunities to develop their communication skills. All children need to hear language during social interactions to help them learn to understand and use new words. Children with speech and language delays often need more opportunities to practice communication and to hear words more often during interactions. Parents, caregivers, and family members usually spend some time every day with their children, so they can provide more chances for communication than a speech and language therapist. The speech and language therapist's role is to coach parents on the best strategies to help support their children's developing communication skills. Next, I will talk about the different communication styles children use and about parent interaction styles. It is important to understand your child's communication styles so that you can better adapt and make changes at home to help them develop language and communication skills. Now, I'm going to cover 3 important topics with you: language development milestones, communication and parenting styles, and communication strategies that you can use in the home. Language development milestones. Let's first learn about the age-expected language skills. Let's talk about the stages of language development. It is important to know the stages of language development to understand how and why children communicate. This way you can appropriately adapt the way you talk to your children. The first stage is first word users. First word users are able to maintain eye gaze with you and begin to use single words. The next stage are combiners. Combiners are able to follow simple instructions, would have at least 50 different words, and begin to develop a range of vocabulary. The next stage is early sentence users. Early sentence users can follow 2-step instructions. Example, take your cup and put it in the red box. They can also respond to simple what, where, and who questions. They can hold short conversations with peers or teachers. The last stage is late sentence users. They can follow 3-step complex instructions, have approximately 1,000 to 1,500 words. They use long sentences. Their speech is clear and they use appropriate grammar. They can respond to questions, engage in pretend play, and start to play more creatively. It is helpful to refer to the child's age as a starting point with respect to expected language skills. The age estimates the child's expected skills. However, when we are supporting children, it is important to identify which stage of language development they're at. There are 3 main types of language disorders. Receptive language disorder. Children with receptive language disorder have problems understanding and processing what others say to them. Expressive language disorder. Children with expressive language disorder have problems using words to express their thoughts. Mixed receptive and expressive language disorder. Children with this disorder have problems with both understanding and expressing their wants and needs in words. In addition to receptive and expressive language disorders, children can also have social communication challenges. Children with a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder or ASD have difficulties with social communication. What is social communication? It refers to the way in which children use language within social situations. Tanya is a child with a social communication disorder. Tanya seems bright. She knows her colors and some numbers, but she often seems confused when I'm telling her what to do. She often repeats what other people have said to her. She doesn't play well with other children. It's like she wants everything on her own terms. She loves playing with puzzles, but she doesn't want anyone else to have a go. And she can't sit still. Some children with social communication challenges can find it difficult to make sense of social interactions and play with other children. They find the social expectations and rules very confusing and don't understand why it's important to sit down and to listen to others or to take turns with toys. Some children learn language by copying the language they hear. Thus, you might hear them echoing what others have said. Some children with social communication challenges have a really good memory for facts and words which reflect their interests. This can lead people to overestimate how much they are able to understand conversations. Some children with social communication challenges can tend to develop obsessional interests. This interest can sometimes provide a sense of security in a confusing situation. What are the main components of social communication? The ability to use language for different purposes. The ability to adapt language to meet the needs of the listener or situation. Following the often unspoken rules of conversation and storytelling is the last component of social communication. Where do I start? How do I know what is wrong? Let's learn about a technique called observe, wait, and listen. The ideal conditions for language learning is when parents adopt a child-centered approach to play and interaction. This means that parents let go of the lead during interactions and allow children to get a chance to initiate conversation. Parents then follow their child's lead and build on the child's interests. It can be challenging to know what is on your child's mind. Take time to observe their body language. This means their actions, gestures, and facial expressions. Pay attention to these messages, and you can learn a lot about their interest and what they want to tell you. Waiting. Waiting is a powerful tool. It gives you the time to observe your child and gives your child a chance to say or do something to start the interaction with you. Waiting also gives your child enough time to understand your message or instruction. Listening. Listening means paying close attention to your child's words and sounds. Do not interrupt, even if you have figured out what they are trying to tell you. Here are some signs that your child has difficulty understanding. The child does not respond to their name. The child does not point to familiar objects. The child does not point to body parts. They do not follow instructions. You often have to point, show, or make instructions very short and simple for them to understand. You often have to repeat instructions many times. They have difficulty paying attention, sitting still, and are unable to finish activities. The child does not listen to stories. The child does not look at parents or friends when talking or playing. The child does not pretend and prefers to go outside and run or play alone. The child does not respond to simple questions. Example, what's that? Where's the bag? Who's that? Signs that your child has difficulty talking. They get frustrated easily when trying to talk. The child has very few words or only uses very immature words. The child has difficulty remembering new words. A very small range of vocabulary. The child is not copying words or sound in play or when reading a book. The child doesn't look at friends or teachers when talking. They may be quiet. They may play alone, have poor attention, and unable to stay on task. Their speech is difficult to understand. Their words are very soft or mumbled. Now let's discuss communication and parenting styles. Get to know your child and your parenting style. Children can demonstrate 4 main conversational styles. You have your sociable child, who initiates interaction very frequently. You may have a reluctant child who seldom initiates. You may have a passive child who shows very little interest in play objects or people. And you may have a child who's on their own agenda. They play alone and they seem uninterested in others. Parents also have their own styles of interaction. Some parents act like directors. They have tight control of what happens at home. Some parents are timekeepers. They rush through activities and routines to stay on schedule. Some parents are helpers, quick to give help, to speak for their child, or to complete the activities for the child. Some parents are cheerleaders. They give lots of praise and get excited. Some parents are entertainers. They're playful, have lots of fun, but they give few opportunities for children to get involved. Some parents are too quiet. They rarely join and play with their children. And then you have a responsive partner. This parent is tuned into the child's abilities, needs, and interests. This parent waits for the child to initiate and takes an active role in interactions. Children with language disorders often have other difficulties. Some common difficulties include sensory processing challenges, poor planning and sequencing, poor problem-solving skills, difficulty remembering new words or new names, and a poor memory, difficulty regulating their emotions, and difficulty paying attention and concentrating. It's important to gather more information to understand your child's communication skills. This can come from teachers, caregivers, other family members, and therapists. A language delay may be primary or secondary. It is secondary if a child has another difficulty which has impacted their language skills, such as autism, a hearing impairment, or global developmental delay. When a language delay is primary, there will be no other difficulty identified. Discussions with therapists can provide you with more information about how to help your child. The last topic we'll cover is communication strategies to help your child at home. The right communication strategy depends on your child's level of language development. Are they a first word user? Are they combining words yet? Are they an early sentence user or a late sentence user? How can you help children with listening difficulties? Here are some strategies to try. Call out the child's name and get eye contact and their attention before asking the child to do something. Praise the child when he or she does listen. Break up long instructions into smaller chunks. Sing songs and act out nursery rhymes to encourage listening and attention skills. Play Ready, Steady, Go games. During book reading, encourage children to join in copying the words and sounds. Here's how to help children who have difficulty understanding. Speak slowly and clearly. Emphasize the important words. Keep what you say short so that there's not too much for the child to take in. Use lively facial expressions and intonation to make what you say sound interesting. Use pointing and other gestures as you speak to show and help the child to understand. Describe and comment. Talk about what happens as you show the actions. Talk about the here and now rather than yesterday and tomorrow. Use lots of repetition of the same words and phrases in your everyday routines. Children need to hear new words lots of times in context to understand them. Develop children's ability to understand instructions by playing games which include taking turns to follow and give spoken instructions. Here's another important tip. When interacting with your child, get face-to-face. Get down to the child's physical level. Make sure you can look directly into each other's eyes. Being face-to-face brings you physically and emotionally closer and allows you to observe your child's interests. Imitate and copy what your child does or says. Copying their actions lets the child know that you are listening and interested in what they are doing. Here's how you can help children who have difficulties with talking. When a child is using immature or unclear speech, model the correct words or sentences. When a child is only saying one or few words to talk, expand on what they said by repeating and adding a little more. Example, if the child says car, the adults can say, "Yes, it's a big car. The car goes fast." Correct the child's errors in a positive way. For example, if the child says brush him hair, the adults can say, "Yes, he's brushing his hair." Be repetitive in your teaching of new vocabulary. Children with expressive language difficulties need even more opportunities to hear and learn new words before they will be able to use them. Here are some other key strategies. Sometimes children's speech may not be clear. Make a smart guess about their messages. Observe their actions and gestures and listen to their sounds and their attempts at words. Make comments when children initiate conversations. This shows them that you are interested. Also, your comments give them more information that they can learn about. When a child is an early communicator and only saying one or few words, you can use short, simple comments. Use your tone of voice to highlight key, important words. Your comments will become longer and more complex as the child's understanding increases and their language becomes a bit more mature. Balance your comments and questions. Here's a rule: avoid asking "What's this?" Ask simple questions to help your child understand and stay interested. Example, "Where's the baby pig?" "Knock knock, who's there?" What about children who are reluctant to speak? Here's some ways you can help. Maintain a positive, calm, and reassuring facial expression. Treat them the same way as other children. Don't punish the child for not talking. Avoid bribing or challenging them to speak. For example, don't say things like, "If you talk, you can play with the ball." When the child refuses to speak, you can offer non-verbal tasks to build confidence in social interactions. What about children with social communication difficulties? Here's some strategies to try. Establish consistent daily routines. These will give the child security as he or she will gradually learn social rules and expectations. Avoid sudden changes in routine since these can feel very threatening to children with social communication difficulties. When the child frequently echoes or repeats the same words over and over, you can repeat and expand. Model or add new social comments. If the language is out of context, then you can model appropriate sentences and words. Give the child a warning when activities are coming to an end rather than stopping them abruptly. Here are some more strategies for children with social communication difficulties. Some children have a good knowledge of color words, letters, numbers, and names. Extra opportunities may be needed for them to learn other areas of vocabulary, such as action words. Help the child to develop turn-taking, playing, and sharing skills. Help them with this by explaining whose turn it is and using timers for extra visual support. Be aware that some children may need their own personal space and allow them time away from other children. Allocate 5 to 10 minutes and encourage them to rejoin with friends.
Thank you for viewing this video, and we look forward to welcoming you and your family soon.